welcome to the first ever Not About It podcast. My name is Sam, and I use they, them pronouns just for reference. I am a knitter and crocheter. I've been knitting for about 8 months now, and crocheting for almost 3 years. I am currently living in the suburbs of Tokyo, Japan. We've been here for just over a year, and we'll be here for about another 2. We're here for my husband's job. We moved here from Denver, Colorado, and I don't know where we're moving next. So like I said, this is my first ever podcast, and I decided to try it out because I've been watching a lot of knitting podcasts lately, and I feel like I'll have a better time doing this and connecting with this community rather than me struggling over on Instagram. I have a really hard time doing the daily thing. I've got 2 young kids and they fill up a lot of my time, so I don't have much time for social media, and I definitely prefer just knitting and crocheting. So, but what I'm drinking out of my nice lavender mug is a chai tea latte. Nothing crazy, just one of my staples, one of my favorites. And I am sorry if you can hear the cicadas in the background. They're not gonna die until it gets cold, and it makes me sad because I hate cicadas. They're truly terrible. They're very loud. Yeah. Hate them. Never gonna get used to them, but that's okay. And what I'm wearing, this is my Jessie Mae outline tee. I used the Ritual Dyes Undine that is recommended for the pattern in the color Quartzite. Yeah. Ritual Dyes. Sorry if it's backwards. But it is a 4-ply fingering weight with 60% organic cotton and 40% linen. It's been interesting for me. I have a lot of textural things, and at first I was really worried. I'm not very much a linen person, and because linen is very rough, at least at first, but it's been doing good. It's been softening up after a few washes, and it's getting to the point where I can wear it pretty comfortably. And you can see the dropped stitch details. So, yeah. And I'll insert a little clip here of the full outfit I wore today. I was at a knitting lunch with my local knitting group. We meet every Tuesday night and every once in a while during the weekdays. So I gotta hire a babysitter to watch my 2 children and go out and have some adult time, which was really nice. I miss talking to adults, you know? I've got a daughter who's about 1 and then a son who's about 2. And talking baby. A lot of talking baby. But yeah, so that was a little clip. The shoes were my favorite part, matching to my shirt. But yeah. So I guess we'll start with recent finished objects. Pause. Malia, best friend, my dear, if you're watching this, look away for a few seconds. If you want the baby blanket to be a surprise. If you don't, go ahead, keep going. I don't know if you would actually be watching this, but look away. So I finished this baby blanket for my dear friend. It is the Ripple Star baby blanket. I don't remember who it's by, but the link will be below. And this is made in Bernat Blanket. I don't remember what color. This was just some stuff that I had in my stash. This is some of the last of the acrylic that I have because I'm not a fan of working with acrylic. I don't like how it feels in my hands anymore. Natural fibers, they've spoiled me. But so there's that. Cozy. The Bernat Blanket is 100% acrylic. A bulky weight, I believe. I used a 9mm hook for this. Yeah, that's about what I got. And then the second finished object that I have is a coaster for my dear partner. He looked through my stash of cotton yarn and picked a color. He picked the gray and was like, here, make something fun with this. I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. And so I designed this little cloud with lightning bolt. So it's a little storm cloud. I'm currently working on writing up the pattern for it. I think I'm going to make a few different variations. I might have one that has like a rainbow, one that ends up being like a circle so that you can have like a big mug or whatever else. This actually does fit a standard sized American coffee cup. Just barely, but it does. But so this is made in Hobbii rainbow cotton. I think this is the 4-ply, the 8/8. Yeah, I think. I don't remember what colors, and then I used a 4mm hook. But yeah, so this was actually the first full iteration of it, which I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. But I'll definitely be making a few more of these, and at some point I'll be asking other people to look at the pattern and maybe publish it. Who knows? But so that is the second finished object. Okay, that is all the finished objects I have finished lately. And then I have a few different works in progress, WIPs. So the first one is again from Malia. Malia, look away if you don't want to see the stuffed animal for your daughter. If you do, keep watching. So I am making a that's not where that goes. That goes over here. What is called a Dinocorn. It is part unicorn, part dinosaur. So it's all pinned together right now because I'm not done, obviously. But I do have both arms and one leg done that are off in the other room. And then so I just need to finish the last leg, do another probably 3, maybe 4 spikes, and then sew everything together. And then he'll be done. But so this is from the book Unicorns, Dragons, and More by Fantasy Amigurini by Meteor Books. It has a bunch of different artists, bunch of different pattern makers, and there are all of the patterns inside of it. I'm doing this one right here. But they're cute. So I got this book from my in-laws for Christmas, I believe, one year. Or maybe it was my birthday. I'm not quite sure. It was a present. The patterns are all really well written, really easy to follow. They do recommend fingering weight for most of these patterns, so they are much, much, much smaller than the one that I currently have. So they said originally that it would be about the size of my hand, and then yeah. But I prefer bigger. I think stuffed animals should be bigger for kids. So the Dinocorn. Voila! Yes. And then my second work in progress is a bigger work in progress. It's one that's going to be going on for a long time. It is housed in my little mushroom basket because look how cute this is. I love it. But so it is the Hexiepuffs. It is the what is the pattern? Hexiepuff blanket. I don't remember the name. The link will be below. I'll make sure to put the pattern link and pattern designer below. But they're the cutest little Hexiepuffs. So I have a bunch of them right now. Haven't woven the ends of this one in, but then they fit together. I haven't decided. I think I'm going to be making a set of pillows and a throw blanket. But we'll see how much scraps I have. These are made out of just scrap sock yarn. And I'll probably rearrange the pattern a little bit to include sport weight and DK weight because I have a lot of that as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just on, here's the current, just DPNs, use 3, work, stuff, bind off, ta-da. But yeah, so this is my on-the-go knitting. It's really easy for in the car, on the train. I can do it wherever. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I can stick one in my bag. I don't have to bring the entire mushroom everywhere. But all of the finished Hexiepuffs are currently living in the top. And I made the crisscross so that I can close it and they don't fall into the main basket where everything else is living. So, yeah. Okay. My next work in progress is the outline tank. So it is the tank top version of the top that I'm currently wearing in the same yarn. Also Undine Ritual Dyes Quartzite, because I had a skein and a half left over. Yarn barf. But so I just barely started. This looks a lot bigger than it actually is. But I'm wearing, I never said what size I was wearing. I'm wearing a size medium. And I like a lot of positives on my garments, so I would technically fit as a small, but I make a size medium because I don't like tight fitting clothes, especially in this kind of fabric. No, thank you. But so I actually just started this last night. I'm in the middle of a row, but but this is a bottom up in the round, easy little thing that I can do. I'm currently working on the rib. I'm not a big fan of ribs. They take a lot of time, they take a lot of brain power. I have to keep remembering to not just knit, and I'm very excited to get to the body where I can just knit. But yeah, so currently working on that. Started that last night. We'll see how it goes. I am hoping to finish it before the end of August because my local knitting group is having a summer shirt knit along. And I actually completed this shirt as part of that knit along, and I finished this shirt, I want to say in the beginning of June, middle of June, beginning of July, that area. And so we'll see. I'm hoping to get it off the needles before it gets cold, but we'll see. I know it's going to be hot for a while here. Summer doesn't actually end until like November. Yeah, it's hot and humid, and then it gets cold and dry. So that is how it is. But then my last work in progress is actually going to be a dress. But it is currently living in this tote. It is by Sonia Stegman on Etsy. I'll have a link below. But it's super pretty. I ordered a couple art prints and some stickers from her too, and they're so much fun, and yeah. But so I have 2 different knitting swatches for this dress, because it has mohair, and I've never actually worked with mohair before, and I didn't know how I would do texture-wise for this. So this swatch is made from Drops Kid Silk and Go Handmade Tencel Bamboo Double. These. And then, where does this swatch go? This swatch is made from Drops Alpaca Silk, brushed Alpaca Silk, with Go Handmade Tencel Bamboo Fine. So they both equal to about the same weight. I think it's a sport weight combined together. And I'm leaning towards the Kid Silk just because it feels softer on my skin. I think I'll be able to handle it better as a tight dress. But the dress is Oh My Figure dress. I'm spacing on the designer's name, but I'll put something right here and have a link below. And I'll include a picture here as well because it's gorgeous, 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 and I'm super excited. But the whole thing is knit in a 2x2 rib, so it's super stretchy and it's a bodycon dress. Yeah, but I'm definitely leaning towards this. And these aren't going to be the colors. I chose colors so that I could actually make a project with each of these. Maybe a hat, maybe socks. We'll see. I don't know. But so I will definitely, and these were made on US 5, 3 3¾ needles, 3.75 millimeter needles. Yeah, it's going to be using a lot of yarn, but I'm very excited about it. So my brother is getting married in December, and we will be going back to the States for the wedding, hopefully. But I'm hoping to maybe have this dress done by then so I can wear the dress to the reception. But if it doesn't happen, oh well, it gave me an excuse to start this dress. And because, like I said, I've only been knitting since beginning of this year, end of last year. And so I haven't actually knit that much. I knit a few hats, and then the first big project I did was actually a Stephen West shawl. Give me 1 second, I'll grab it. First big project that I did was actually this. Of course, it's Stephen West, so it's ginormous. But oh, and you can see all my ends are right here. Oops. There, ta-da. But this is a commemoration, just a bunch of different yarns. I don't remember what they all are right now. But so it is one of the Stephen West scarves, technically a scarf. It's more of a shawl though, which I will again link below. Yeah, I'm really bad with names. I have notes. I didn't write down everything in my notes. I should have written down everything in my notes, but I didn't. So, note for next time. But yeah, and then so this was the first big project. This was the second big project. Yeah, and you've pretty much seen all my knitting. You've seen everything that I've knit, except for the 2 hats, which are away in storage. I've done a lot more crocheting. I've made a few different blankets. Lots of little amigurumi pot holders, towels, lots of stuff. But yeah. So that is all of my current WIPs. And I will now be moving on to recent acquisitions. Which, for now, I will only show yarn because I have a lot of stuff, and I will be acquiring a lot of stuff in the near future as well. because I have bought a lot of stuff and it takes forever to get here to Japan. Our postal system, we technically have a US address because we're living on a military base, but I also have a Japanese address, so I get to pick and choose which shipping is going to be cheaper. Which is great because one indie yarn dyer that I am looking forward to buying from is Big Little Yarn Co. On Instagram, her shop. She has a podcast as well, and she lives here in Japan. I think she's down in Hygge, which is decent ways away. I want to say like a 13-hour drive-ish. I don't know how long the train ride is. Probably not much less than that. But so I can have her ship here. I'm very excited. She has a shop update coming up in Halloween colors that I'm very much looking forward to. But so I said I was from Denver, Colorado, and I had one of my friends from our knitting group here. She was also from Colorado, and she went back and visited her family, and I had her go to one of my favorite yarn stores, local yarn stores, Fancy Tiger Crafts. It's in Denver Metro. If you live in Denver, go check it out. It's awesome. But I had her bring me back some of the HedgeHog Fibers Black Tweedy Noir, which, I mean, just look at that. So she brought me back 3 skeins of this. It is 50% Falkland Merino wool, 37.5% recycled wool, and 12.5% HedgeHog Fibers thread waste. And so it's just, I'm so excited to make a sweater with this. I think it's going to be so fun. But so she brought me back 3 skeins of this, and I'm very grateful for her because we haven't been in Colorado since we moved here. We haven't gone back to the States. And hand-dyed yarn is very hard to come by here in Japan. It's not as big a thing as it is in the US. It's not as big a thing as it is in Australia. Most of what is made here is commercial. And it's nice. It's just, I'm a stickler for hand-dyed yarn. I'm a stickler for the fancy, beautiful stuff. I recently actually got rid of probably 90% of my acrylic yarn so I could make room for new fancy stuff. So, yeah. But the next thing is I got 3 of these skeins from Twill and Print. The colorway is Lavender Latte, and I love everything lavender. I mean, you can tell lavender. I've got lavender in there. I have lavender over there. I have lavender everywhere. Lavender's my favorite. I love the flavor. I love the color. I love the smell. I love chef's kiss. And so I just thought it was absolutely stunning with the purple tones and then the orangey brown burnt and the cream. And I thought like it's just the perfect mix of like neutrals and a little bit of color, and I love it. So I got another 3 skeins of these, and I'm going to make a sweater, probably a big baggy. I don't really do tight sweaters. I don't wear tight sweaters, so anything that I knit is probably going to be in a size either medium or large, and I'm typically a small. But it's so soft. This is superwash merino, 80%, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, 3-ply. It's their Hygge? I'll spell it out on screen. I know there's a lot of different pronunciations that I always screw up, so yeah. But this is dyed in Canada, and my husband has some family there, so I'm always happy to support Canadian businesses as well as American businesses. And shipping here doesn't make that big of a difference, so yeah. So I got 3 of these. And then a few weeks ago, I took a day and I spent the day in Tachikawa, here in Japan, one of my nearest cities. It's about a 30-minute train ride from where I am, and then from there, it's probably another 30-minute train ride on that same train to Tokyo. So that's about where I am. I'm about an hour outside of Tokyo. And I went to one of the yarn stores there, which is it's one of the more local yarn stores. We don't really have lots here. We have craft stores, but there's not really any specifically yarn stores, except when you go into downtown Tokyo, and they're very few and very far between. But so I got a bunch of Opal sock yarn because they had the Vincent van Gogh colorways. And Vincent van Gogh is my favorite artist. I've always loved him. I've always connected with him. I get it. I love his artwork. I think it's amazing. But so each of these is based off of one of his paintings. And then you can see an example of what a sock would look like in the yarn, which is one of the reasons I like Opal. But so this is his sunflower painting. This one is Starry Night. And this one, I'm forgetting the name, but whatever that painting is. So, and then I also bought some of the Japanese Noro, which is part wool, part silk, and then part poly something. I would read the label, but it's in Japanese. But it's really soft. It's really nice. I bought 3 skeins of this as well. I love squishing yarn. Squishing yarn is amazing. But so yeah, and that is all I have for today. But I wanted to thank you guys for watching. If you have stuck with me this far, I'm very grateful. And I probably will be doing this probably every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks. We'll see how much I get done. I'm a pretty slow knitter. I'm a pretty slow crocheter. I have a lot of other things in my life, so I'm not knitting all day, which makes me very sad. I wish I could. But I cannot, so that is life. But so we'll see how much progress I make in 2 weeks, and I'll hopefully see you then. I would love to hear what you guys are working on. Please tell me in the comments. I love talking about yarn and projects, and so if you have any anything you would like to see in Japan, anything that you want to go do, anything that you're working on, tell me what tea you like to drink, what drinks you like to drink. Start a conversation. I'd love to have one. And you can find me on Instagram at knot_about_it is my yarn account. I'm not super active on there. Like I said, I don't do daily stuff. I have a hard time doing that. But yeah, and then I'll link my Ravelry below. I don't remember my username. I don't have the best memory, but that's okay. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I hope that you guys stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye. Naya bonita,